Okay, let's go on to the third kind of suffering that is experienced by the fool. Furthermore, when a fool is resting on a chair or a bed or on the ground, their past deeds, misconduct of body, speech and mind settle down upon them, rest down upon them and lay down upon them. It's like the shadow of a great mountain peak in the evening as it settles down, rests down and lays down upon the earth. In the same way, when a fool is resting on a chair or a bed or on the ground, their past deeds, misconduct by body, speech and mind settle down upon them, rest down upon them and lay down upon them. And then that fool thinks, alas, I haven't done good and skillful things that keep me safe, and I have done bad things, violence and sin. Sin? Okay, that's interesting. Anyway, when I depart, I will go to the place where people who have done such things go. They sorrow and wail and lament, beating their breast and falling into confusion. This is the third kind of suffering and sadness that the fool experiences in this very life. And so this is what I was talking about just before, to the lady that was asking this question, is that you have no choice. Your actions envelop you, they surround you, they bear down upon you, and you cannot really avoid those actions. And especially after a long day at work or whatever it might be, finally you want to settle down and you want to rest. But as the saying goes, there is no rest for the wicked. This is what this is. This is no rest for the wicked. It's right here. Who thought that saying came from the suttas? One of the strange things about the suttas, almost everything is there. This is one of those things that I've seen over a lifetime, how all the kind of wise sayings in the world, they're often prefigured in the suttas. Not only the wise sayings, but many of the kind of ordinary things in life too are there in the suttas. And it's the idea that there is nothing new under the sun. Things are just repeated and repeated and repeated again and again. Actually, there's nothing new under the sun is a quote from the Bible, I believe. Does anyone here expert in the Bible? No? Okay. Neither am I, but someone told me, or I read on the internet that it's from the Bible. I don't know how reliable the internet is with these things, but anyway, well, probably true. There's nothing new under the sun. Yeah, Bible, right. Yeah. So, and this is what it is about. You cannot escape your own bad deeds. This is such a powerful idea. They will be within you. You know. You cannot avoid it. You cannot hide somewhere. You can hide, but you cannot hide from those bad deeds. You will still have to experience it, and you will feel bad about yourself. Your conscience will tell you that you have done something wrong. And then you feel kind of grey, misery, bad, everything is kind of terrible and sad. And so be aware of that. And sometimes it may not even be quite clear what is going on, so you need to kind of look out for that. And you will find that even now, you're probably living a good life, but probably there are a few things you can do better. And those things that you're not doing to the best of your ability, those things will bear down upon you, and they will affect you in a bad way. Maybe little things, the way you treat certain people, maybe you are dismissive of certain people, you think they are fools, and so you dismiss them because they are fools or whatever. But be very careful, because every little act, every small thing that is bad and not in accordance with the Dhamma will affect your mind. There's no that too. That there is like a balance sheet. If you're an accountant, you have the balance on the one side, the positive balance, that's all the good action, and then you have the negative ones, and you want to have maximum good ones and minimum bad ones. The more you have of the negative ones, it will dilute the good ones, and the good ones won't feel as good because of that. And so really investigate your life, so that when you come down and you sit down on the chair or the ground or the bed in the evening, you can feel good. You can feel, I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person. Whatever the world says is irrelevant. It doesn't matter, because I know in my heart I'm living well. This is what makes you independent. This is what gives you resilience. This is what gives you an inner power, the bala, the indriya on the Buddhist path come out of this. And then they enable you to practice further on the spiritual path as well. This is the third kind of suffering and sadness that the fool experiences in this very life. Having done bad things by body, speech and mind, when the body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, or in hell. And suppose that fool, after a very long time, return to the human realm. Yeah, after being reborn, you notice the word after a very long time. If you're really foolish, it goes for a long time. Then they will be reborn in a low-class family, a family of corpse workers. That doesn't sound nice. Hunters, bamboo workers, chariot makers, or scavengers. Such families are poor with little to eat or drink, where life is tough and food and shelter are hard to find, and they are ugly, unsightly, deformed and sickly, one-eyed, crippled, lame, half paralyzed. It's interesting the way it is described. It's kind of very graphic. Yeah? They don't get to have food, drink, clothes and vehicles, garlands, fragrances and makeup or bed, house and lighting. And they do bad things by way of body, speech and mind. When the body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a place of loss, the bad place, the underworld in hell. It's kind of terrible, isn't it? It's kind of really... wow, it's like you just come out, finally you get out of hell, or finally you get reborn not as an animal anymore. It's like you come to the surface of the lake, you get the chance to take a breath, you get reborn in the human realm. But as you are taking that breath, you carry on with your bad actions, because that is your habit. Your habit for doing bad is so strong. One of the reasons why it is so powerful to learn to be a good person in this life is that goodness that you have, you will carry that with you into the future. In your next life also you will be a good person, because the habit is created in this life. Human beings, we are habitual creatures. We live according to habit. So at the very least, do good now so that you become a better person also in the future. And you carry that habit with you. It is very scary if you have some bad habits, like you get angry a little bit too easy, or you're a bit too greedy, or a bit deluded, or whatever. That habit also carries on into the future. And given the wrong kind of circumstances, there is no Dhamma around or whatever, those bad habits get amplified by that society, by the people around you. And that's kind of scary. Get rid of those bad qualities to the best of your ability. Build up the good qualities, create new habits that then you take with you into the future. Sometimes people ask me why I am a Buddhist monk. And the answer is, no idea. I just happen to wear brown robes and shave my head. That happens. But I think the truth is, the reason why I'm a Buddhist monk is because it's a habit. I have done this in the past. Why would I, of all people, become a Buddhist monk? I was born in Norway. Norway, there was no Buddhism in Norway. When I was born, there was no foreigners, even there was just Norwegians, and all they do was go skiing. That's kind of what they do in Norway. Go skiing, ice and snow, Some are Christian, mostly atheists, No idea about Buddhism. Okay, somewhere far away is Asia. We heard about Asia, but didn't really know what it was. Asia is somewhere far away. And so why did I become a Buddhist monk? And the only way I can explain it is because it's a habit. I have been a Buddhist monk in the past, and somehow that resurfaced in me, and then I inclined towards the Dhamma. I inclined towards being a Buddhist monk. This is the only way I can explain this. And so this shows you the power of habit. It drives you on. If you have good habits, like being a Buddhist monk, is that a good habit? Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you're saying yes. I would be, if you said no, I would get really scared. I don't know what I would say if you said no. It's a good habit, right? You do well. You live in a good way here. And so this is kind of the idea of habit. Yeah, it drives you on in a positive way, and it kind of helps you in your future life as well. So create incredibly good habits in this life. Then there is a chance you will be able to carry on in the future. Maybe, unless you make an end of it in this life. Yeah, if you do, then congratulations. But sometimes you will have to carry on in the future life. And this is what this is about. The person here has such bad habits. Finally, they get to the surface of the lake. They get an opportunity to take a breath of fresh air. Yeah, they get reborn in the human realm. But because the habit is so bad, they go straight down underwater again, straight to a bad rebirth right away here. It's kind of despairing, isn't it, when you say, I think, wow, wait, friend, don't do those stupid things. Shut up, don't want to hear what you have to say. Okay, carry on. Okay, then. All right, so let us move on. These are these three characteristics, signs and manifestations of an astute person. Yeah, it also goes on about another. Yeah, anyway, that gives you the three things. So, what three are the manifestations and signs of the astute person? An astute person thinks well, speaks well, and acts well. If an astute person didn't think well, speak well, or act well, then how would the astute know of them? This worthy one is a wise person, a true person. Yeah, you will notice here that it is always the wise one who knows things. The wise one knows who is wise, and the wise one knows who is a fool. The foolish person doesn't know anything. They haven't got a clue what's going on. They can't tell the difference. That's the problem with being foolish. You are deluded. You don't want to hear because you are doing bad things, etc. You have to be wise to tell the difference. So all of you who are here, are you wise or foolish? Well, I would say you already have quite a bit of wisdom. Otherwise, you wouldn't be interested in the Dhamma. You know, this is why you're here. And, all of those people who of the BGF who are not here, how many members has the BGF got? 1,000 members. And how many people are here? 50? So it's 5%. I don't know about the rest of them. Or maybe they have a good excuse. But, actually there isn't any good excuse, right? There should be 1,000 people in this hall. Or maybe we should be glad that everyone isn't here because we have a problem. But it is quite rare, yeah. And this is you have to be wise to understand where wisdom lies, and this is part of the problem. And again, quite simple to know who is wise. You know it through the actions and speech and the thoughts of other people. Yeah, observe them carefully, and you will know who the wise people are. But since the wise person does and thinks well and speaks well and acts well, then the wise do know of them. This is a wise person, a true person. A wise person experiences three kinds of pleasure and happiness in this very life. Suppose the wise person is sitting in a council hall, a street, or a crossroads where people are discussing about what is proper and fitting. This is what we are doing here. Yeah, this is what this is. Right now we are discussing about things that are proper and fitting. And suppose that wise person is someone who refrains from killing living creatures, refrains from stealing, refrains from committing sexual misconduct, refrains from lying, refrains from beer, wine, liquors, and intoxicants. Then the wise person thinks, these people are discussing what is proper and fitting, and those good things are found in me, and I exhibit them. This is the first kind of pleasure and happiness that the astute person experiences in this very life. Yeah, it's simple, but kind of beautiful. Yeah, the idea that when you go to an assembly somewhere, you go, I don't know what you do, you go to a monastery, you hang out with good people, wherever it is, and everywhere like this, people talk about the 5 precepts, and you know that you are keeping them. Yeah, you feel good about yourself when that happens, because you know that these are wise people. The Buddha says we should keep 5 precepts. The Buddha would praise you for keeping the 5 precepts. Isn't that great? The wisest person in human history would praise you. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. There are all of these other people who will say, yeah, 5 precepts, who cares? But what does it matter what they say if the Buddha praises you? And so this is how we should think. Who are the people whose praise we are seeking? Seek the praise of the right people. Or don't seek praise from anyone, but if they praise you, then you know you're on the right track. Yeah, so the Buddha is already praising you. Yay, the Buddha is praising me. Hooray! Yeah, then you're thinking on the right way, kind of leaning in the right direction. Furthermore, an astute person sees that the kings have arrested a bandit and criminal and subject them to various kinds of punishments. And then you have all of these terrible punishments. I'm not going to read them out. Then that astute wise person thinks, the kinds of deeds for which the king inflicts such punishments, those deeds are not found in me, and I do not exhibit them. This is the second kind of pleasure and happiness that the wise person experiences in this very life. You feel safe. You feel that no one can really, there's no one rightfully can do anything to you because you don't deserve to be punished, etc. Then we come to the last one. Furthermore, when the wise person is resting on a chair or a bed or on the ground, their past good deeds, good conduct of body, speech and mind settle down upon them, rest down upon them and lay down upon them. It is like the shadow of a great mountain peak in the evening, as it settles down, rests down and lays down upon the earth. In the same way, when a wise person is resting on a chair or a bed or on the ground, their past good deeds, good conduct by body, speech and mind settle down upon them, rest down upon them and lay down upon them. Then that wise person thinks, well, I haven't done bad things, violence and sin, and I have done good and skillful deeds that keep me safe. When I pass away, I will go to a place where people who have done such things go, so they don't sorrow and wail and lament, beating the breast and falling into confusion. This is the first kind of pleasure and happiness that a wise person experiences in this very life. So create that mountain for yourself. Create a pile of good deeds by body, speech and mind that is so great that when you rest down in the evening, that pile of goodness will create a shadow, will create a light, maybe is a better thing, that is so powerful and so strong that it kind of envelops you and encompasses you completely. And you cannot avoid feeling happy. You cannot avoid feeling good about yourself. It's impossible. You have to feel happy about yourself. Wow. Okay, those idiots over there, they say bad things about me. You get this resilience. You get this feeling of strength. It doesn't matter what other people say about you or think about you anymore. Isn't that great? Sometimes we get so upset because other people say bad things about us. But if you are a truly good person, you don't care anymore what other people say. It doesn't matter. It's like water off a duck's back, as the saying goes. Yeah, the water doesn't sit on a duck's back, or water off a lotus petal. I don't know what expression you use here in Malaysia, but whatever. Yeah, it doesn't stick to you because you know that you're a good person. And to all the good people that I know, the really good people I know in the world, they don't care what other people think. For me, the kind of greatest example is my own teacher, Ajahn Brahm, and I have so much respect for Ajahn Brahm, even after I've been living with Ajahn Brahm for over 30 years, and I still respect him. That's amazing, right? Usually after 30 years, and to dismiss people, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, I've seen all sides of Ajahn Brahm. But it's not like that with Ajahn Brahm. My respect always increasing with Ajahn Brahm. He's like, to me, a really special person. And I remember when he... kind of one of the things that was really impressive with me was when he, after he ordained all of these bhikkhunis in Perth, and he went to Thailand and they told him, okay, this means you can no longer be part of Wat Pah Pong because we don't believe in ordination of nuns or whatever. And then he came back to Perth, and we kind of asked him, what does it feel like when all your friends say we don't want to have anything to do with you? What does that feel like? Ajahn Brahm told me, he said, I had only one thought. Did I do anything wrong? And I thought about it, and I thought, no, I didn't do anything wrong. And that was the end of the story. It's only one question. It's not about whether other people judge you or not. That's irrelevant. That's their problem if they want to judge you. My problem is to look after my own conduct. Did I do anything wrong? And if I can't see anything wrong in my conduct, okay, they can disagree if they want to. And if they want to disagree, okay, fine. They have their own agenda or their own priorities or whatever. That's okay. But my priority, my agenda is to look after my own conduct. And once he had said no, then it just that was it. Water off a duck's back. This is the right way of living, because we cannot live according to the judgments of others, because other people cannot really understand us. They cannot know what is driving us, our motivation, and what makes our life work. And so that's the way you think. So create that big mountain. That is the message here. And when you create that big mountain, you will have no choice but to sit in the light of that mountain of good actions. The light will fall upon you whether you want to or not. When the body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. And if there is anything of which it may be rightly said that it is utterly likable, desirable, and agreeable, it is of a heaven that this should be said. So much so that it is not easy to give a simile for how pleasurable heaven is. So this is why your mind will incline towards heaven, because it is very pleasurable. So hopefully one day, you will kind of, you will die and suddenly, whoop, what happened? Oh, I must be dead. And you look at yourself and you think, wow, this body is different from the previous body. It's like bright and shining, and wow, I feel so much more happy than I did before. Maybe I'm a deva now. Yeah, wow, I must be a deva. And then you enjoy yourself, in Devaloka. This is how you become a deva. There isn't really any difference between being a deva and a human. It's just you carrying on in a happier way. Sometimes why it is so hard to imagine these things, because we imagine that somehow it is fundamentally different, but it isn't. It is just you carrying on, and suddenly you have just a different body or whatever. Oh, I got now I can have all of these other pleasures, and then you enjoy all of those other pleasures. So that is kind of what is happening there. So I think I will stop there actually, because that's already quite a lot. I don't want to do too much in one go, because some of these things it's nice to allow them to sink in a little bit and to reflect on them a little bit.
Hi, Ajahn. Just two questions.
Please,
In heavenly realm, we enjoy.
Yeah.
So is there still opportunity to cultivate, because that's still not it yet, right?
Yes, it's still not that's the problem with the heavenly realm. It lasts for a while, and then you're going to have to get reborn somewhere else, right? That's kind of the danger of it. And once you get to that point, it's like you're back to square one again. Yeah. It seems terrible. So is it possible to cultivate Dhamma? Sure, it is possible. Because heavenly beings are just like us. They have intentions, so they can be kind or they can be nasty. Sometimes you hear about the heavenly realm and they do bad things, they go to war with each other and these kind of things. So heavenly realm is like everywhere else. You can do good or you can do bad. So you can cultivate. There are examples in the suttas of devas becoming stream enterers. Devas, in sense that they become Aryans while they are in the heavenly realm. And so, sure, you can cultivate while you're there. You can carry on practicing the path and even becoming a stream enterer.
So it is like no different as being reborn as a human, because you can still cultivate and you can still have this unwholesome, residuals that you can be bad at heavenly realm. It
is probably not right to say it is no different. I think one of the dangers of heavenly realm is that you get so intoxicated with pleasures that you forget about cultivating anything. You think, now I can do whatever I like. But that's the same as we see in the human realm, right? You see in the human realm when things are going well, you forget, you become complacent. You think, oh, Dhamma, yeah, Dhamma is for the rainy days, yeah, it's when things go difficult, that's when I practice Dhamma. When things are going well, I want, no need to practice Dhamma. So people, when they have a lot of suffering, then they come on a retreat to learn a bit about Dhamma, and then otherwise they travel around the world enjoying themselves. So there's the same problem in the human realm really as well. And we have to learn that Dhamma is not just for the rainy days. Dhamma is also for the days when the sun is shining, because the sun only shines for so long. So it's the same kind of problem. So basically in the heavenly realm and the human realm, we have to overcome the same kind of issue. And remember that everything is impermanent. Everything will come to an end. Life as a deity will come to an end before you know it, and then you have no idea where you get reborn after that. So there's more chances of that happening in the heavenly realm. But the problem is that sometimes people say, "Oh, I want to be reborn as a human so I can practice the Dhamma." But you don't even know if there's going to be Dhamma. You don't know where you're going to get reborn in the human realm. You don't know if the areas are all gone, when you come back next time. One of the great things about heaven is that there are going to be lots of areas there. Sakka, the ruler of heaven, is supposed to be an area. Imagine if we have more areas, to run kind of things, even in the human realm. What a wonderful thing that would be. And so it's very hard to say. The Buddha does not say that we should be reborn as humans. There's nothing in that in the suttas. And so I think the best thing to do is to allow karma to take its course and then carry on practicing wherever you are.
Thank you, Ajahn. My second question is this: to cultivate good conduct of body, speech, and mind, which eventually what we call karma, the good karma. So all this, I believe, is out of our intention.
Yeah.
So it is all intended deeds. So am I correct to say that at the very first point of the intention of unwholesome, a karma is created? Or must it be a repeated actions of unwholesome deeds that create karma? Thank you.
Yeah, so it is unwholesome from the very moment that you have like a negative thing arising in your mind. It is unwholesome already. There's a little bit of bad karma there, but it's very small because it's such a habitual thing, it just arises. But if you live that out, let's say you get angry, but then you live it out through bad speech and bad actions, it's much worse, because then you are making that much more powerful, more intention, more drive into it. And if you make it into a habit, even worse, because then it's like you become that bad action almost, because the habits are basically what we are. So don't worry too much if you have occasional bad thoughts, because otherwise we would be worried and anxious all the time if that was the case. Everyone can expect to have bad thoughts occasionally, but just know that those bad thoughts are to be overcome. They are to be dealt with. And so we deal with them. One of the problems of the thinking mind is that we identify with it. When you think something, you think, "Oh, I am thinking this." It feels like it's you thinking it. Or you have a thought about whatever. It feels very much like this is me having this thought. Notice when you start thinking that actually it feels really like you, and that sense of identity is kind of dangerous. So try to see thoughts more like conditioned things. Okay, a thought is coming in your mind, but actually it isn't me, and because it isn't you, it can be changed. So how can I change this thought? How can I take it in a different direction? How can I think differently? That's kind of the right way of thinking. So you don't identify too much with those thoughts, because it always feels like it's coming from us, but that is part of the illusion. And so you do have occasional bad thoughts, fine, but then you do something to overcome them. You lean in a different direction, more metta, more karuna, more understanding, more compassion, all of these kind of things, and then you're kind of heading off in the right direction. So if you have a bad thought, don't be too concerned, but don't reinforce it by carrying it out or living it out or whatever.
Ajahn, I have a question. Just now, Ajahn mentioned that the Buddha did not recommend where to get reborn, like for example, whether it's heaven or human realm. And I think in one of the sutta in Iti Uttaka, I think I cannot remember the exact name, is I think Panchanimitta Sutta, the 5 decaying signs, where the devas, when they see the 5 decaying signs, then they console each other, then console the devas who are about to pass away, to say, oh, please get reborn in the human realm, because that's where you can practice. And I think admittedly that was not spoken by the Buddha, but then you find this example where the devas encourage those who are about to pass away, I mean among the devas, to be reborn as human realm. So what do you have to say about that?
Okay, well, I think that their karma is exhausted in the Devaloka, and so I would say that they probably don't have an opportunity to get reborn in the Devaloka. So I would say that's the distinction between human realm or ghost realm or animal realm. So they have a choice between those lower realms. I think that's kind of what's going on there, because they are about to pass away from the Devaloka, means that the karma is exhausted in that particular place. But from the human realm, well, there is more. Like, okay, now I have the karma to be reborn as a deva or as a human, and I think starting in the human realm is not as obvious that you should be, you should seek for one or the other. And anyway, I think it's a dangerous thing to try to kind of guide our spiritual path, because we don't really know what we're doing. You come to your deathbed and you kind of, want one thing or the other. Do we really know? It is your deep desires within that will drive that process anyway. It is not really your superficial ideas, oh yeah, I would like to be a human because, I think that's better for practicing the Dhamma. The deeper desires are much more powerful. And your deep desires will be desires to have a happy life, to enjoy things in a deep way. That's the deep kind of human things that will drive the rebirth process. And so I think it is better, in my opinion, it's better to just relax on your deathbed and just enjoy the dying process. Because dying can be quite happy if your body is very sick and old. You get let go of the old body and enjoy that, instead of trying to kind of guide it this way and guide it that way and then make a mess of it, which I think we often do when we try to do these things. And then as you enjoy it, it means your mind state is going to be wholesome and good because you're enjoying it, and then that will lead to whatever good destination is meant to be for you. But thank you for reminding me of that sutta in the Itivuttaka, because I hadn't remembered that one actually. Maybe I should look it up afterwards and make sure I, still have the same opinion after after reading it. So yeah.
I may also remember incorrectly.
we shall see what happens. All right. Anyone else like to say anything? Yeah. We still have a few minutes if you like. Yeah. Okay. Of course you can say something. Yeah.
I think in the heavenly realm there is no Ajahn Brahm, no Ajahn Brahmali to guide a person to do good deeds. So there is no avenues to do danas, So because you mentioned heavenly realms are full of abundance, full of food. Yeah. So in the end, probably these devas become so complacent. And then when they come to a person with a luminous light, and then the human starts to pray to them, that's how I think the evolution of praying come about. You think it's true?
Yeah, probably some truth to that. But true, it may be not so easy to do dana because obviously everyone already has a good life, but you can still speak with kindness, and act with kindness maybe in other ways. I don't think it's impossible to make good or bad karma in the heavenly realm. I think you can, because it's all about intention, right? And heavenly beings also must have intentions. You see Mahamoggallana building a big palace in the heavenly realm. This is in the Chula Tanha Sankaya Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 37. He's building a palace. What else I said, Mahamoggallana? I meant Sakka is building a big palace. Is that what? And so, they obviously have intentions in the heavenly realm as well. They're building stuff and doing things and enjoying whatever is going on. So you can still make good and bad karma. Is there Ajahn Brahm in the heavenly realm? Probably not. But there will be, what is interesting, there will be Aryas there. There will be noble ones. And so you will be able to find many good spiritual companions, regardless. And that's kind of what is interesting, because Aryas will tend to be reborn in heaven. Yeah, that's where they get reborn. And so, yeah. In the human realm, how many areas are there? Probably not so many here. And so maybe you're better off in heaven. I don't know. Okay, let's have a break. So let's have please have a nice lunch together, and we recommence the next class at 1 o'clock this afternoon.